Good morning. Good morning, Judith. Good morning, Letitia. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Had to give me some water. Had to get some water. I was like, oh, well, let me go on and get it started. Run down here and get me some water so I can be lubricated. Have my mouth. Hey, Sherry Naylor.
What would you like to know about Sherry Naylor?
Siri always think I'm talking to you.
I don't know what you mean by.
That's so funny. Hey, 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 good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever it is that you are watching the broadcast. Thank you for being on. Thank you for being live. Thank you for playing and dancing and sharing and all of those kinds of things. Just thank you for being you. Thank you for being you. Good morning, Pastor Bobby. Good morning. Good morning. So good to see you. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being live. Thank you for being engaged. Hey, Brian. Good morning, sis. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome. So for those of you who are live, let's do it. Let's play. Let's have fun. Let's engage. For those of you who will do hashtag replay, I appreciate you for, doing it when it works for you. For those who will be on, and I may never know you're on, you're doing your thing. That works. And for that last group who will be used by Papa to encourage me at that time when I, just be like, 5:00, 5:40. Really? We still doing that? Papa be like, yep, we are still doing that. So I'm so grateful for you, dropping a little nugget and saying, hey, did you know when? Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want it to be relevant. And as long as it's relevant and as long as I'm called to do it with that matches, we will be doing it. And excuse me, I want to remind us all that every Friday from 11:30 till noon on WHPR TV, and probably the best way of getting it, y'all, probably the best way that I know of. Let's see. Probably the best way I know of is Watkins is getting it this way. 313watkins.com. And then, when you go there, you go to the live streaming. When you go there, you go to find, look at my fingernails. I need my nails done, y'all. I need my nails done. So when you go there, you go to find WHPR TV Detroit. Find WHPR TV Detroit. Click on that, and it might take you through a series of clicks. And then from there, you will be able to find the live show. So 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time. It's the time on Fridays. So today's message, we are talking about the wake. The wake is a trail that the boat leaves behind. The wake is the trail that the boat leaves behind. And y'all know we use all kind of metaphors to talk about our life and living as the highest, truest, and fullest versions of ourselves from this place of self-love that comes from Luke 10:27. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, soul, and strength, and thy neighbor as thyself. Is that as thyself part? That's my mandate to talk to humanity about, right? That's my mandate, as thyself. So when we look at this notion of the wake, the influence, it influences, but it doesn't have to direct. So the wake is the trail that the boat leaves behind. Our wake is the trail that our life leaves behind. It's what's behind us. Our wake in our life is what's behind us. How many of us allow what's behind us to direct us today? How many of us find ourselves there, that what's behind us, what's in our wake, what's in our past directs us today? And good morning, Tanya. Hey, sis. Good morning. And so the wake can't direct the boat. The trail that the boat leaves behind cannot direct where the boat goes. It's the person that's driving the boat that directs it. But if the person is so focused on the wake, they won't direct the boat well. If they're so caught in the wake, if they're focused on the wake, if they're obsessed with the wake, beloved, they won't be present, fully present, to maximize the driving of the boat forward. They'll still be consumed by the wake, what's behind, that they'll hinder their presence and their forward momentum. How many of us find ourselves there, beloved, where we're so still consumed with who said what, how they said it, what they did, what I did, what I failed to do, how this did not happen for me, and so on and so forth, that the wake, the trail that's left behind, is still determining our direction today. Now, of course, our history influences, no doubt, our history influences our present, but it doesn't have to direct it. It influences it because our history helps. It's a part of who we become. It's a part of how we become who we are. Our history is, right? But when our history is when our present is dictated by our history, then we are imprisoned by our past. Can you hear that? When we find ourselves saying, I do this because of that, do you still have to do this? That happened. We can't change the past. That did happen. But do you have to do this because that happened? Like, are there any other options? Is there another door or a window from which you can choose? Are there other alternatives available to you, beloved? Is that your only choice? I do understand that that is your past, that is what happened, but is that your only choice? Is that your only choice of moving forward? Could you not move forward in another way? Is that not possible for you, beloved? And so, if I can find this really quickly, I'm going to read this to you. Good morning, Erica. Hey, honey bun. It's so good to see you. So good to see you. So, yeah, is that the only choice? So, I want to read this to you. See, a lot of times we will look at our past and we will say we can't help but do or be or show up the way that we are because of what happened in our past. And I'm here to challenge that. I'm here to challenge that. If you continue to tell the same story about your past, I'm not talking about the facts. The facts are the facts. We can't change the facts that happen, but we can change our verbs. We can reframe the facts. We can say the facts happened, and as a result of those facts, that can change, right? You can reframe basically the outcome of the facts. I'll get that better in a minute. I'm still processing that. But if we keep telling the story the same way, if we keep drawing the same conclusions about the facts of the matter, we will keep getting the same outcome, right? We can't do the same thing over and over again and expect something different to happen. It simply doesn't work that way. If we plant watermelon seeds, we get watermelon. We don't get peaches. It's just the way it is. So if you plant seeds of doubt, disbelief, this being disgruntled, helpless victim, those are the seeds that we get back. We don't get empowerment seeds back from empowerment outcomes back from planting victim seeds. We just don't. We're going to get more of what we pour into ourselves, of what we expose ourselves to. So if you're still exposing yourself to the old story that has you limited, downtrodden, victimized, powerless, You will get more of that. We do. We do. We do. So my new book is kind of that is that subconsciously I was telling the same story around limitation and powerlessness and that kind of, but I had no idea that I was telling that story. I'm gonna just say, y'all know what, once I realized it was on and popping to sever myself from anything that resembled that. I began cutting all of the tentacles. Once I became aware that there was a part of my life, there was a message in my subconscious that was limiting me, that was keeping me locked and hindered and limited, right? And so there's still some influences there, but nah. When it comes up, I am freeing myself over and I'm like, I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. And you don't get to stay. I see you and you don't get to remain. I see you and that doesn't work for me. You don't get to be a part of my life anymore. Like you played the message, talking to the message. You played unchecked for, I don't know when I received the message, and I did receive it because I didn't have to. In a sense, there was a choice. I didn't know it was a choice. I didn't even know I was receiving the message. So in that sense, we can talk about choice or not choice. However it is you fall, I'm good with that. But I received the message and there were other messages available, but for whatever reasons, I received that. And I know at least by 9 years old, I received it because I can remember distinctly feelings of desperation at 9 years old. So I had received it by then. And that message played unchecked, beloved, unchecked intentionally until February of 2020. Can you believe that? Now, because of who Papa God created me to be, it wasn't 100% unchecked because my soul, my spirit man was like, oh, heck no, we're not doing that. No. So there was always this fire. There was always this fight. There was always this rebuttal that was happening on the inside of me. It just wasn't conscious. So I couldn't maximize it. So these days, I live maximizing it because I know that message can have so the wake, right? That message can influence me today. I know that. I know that the message can influence me today. So as a result of that, I am very conscious about the decisions I make. I'm very conscious about how I show up. I'm very conscious about accepting limitations and not walking in the direction that is mine to walk in. I'm very conscious about, those ways that I now know were choices made out of limitation, choices made out of a smallness, choices made out of just simply believing that there wasn't enough for my dreams to come true. That's scarcity. That's one definition of scarcity, is believing and on top of it, and there's nothing I could do about it. Like, now y'all know that wasn't conscious, because if it was conscious, I'd have been in somebody's chair. I'd have been like, hey, I got this thing playing in my mind. Can you help me? I'd have been like, ooh, something's happening and I don't like it. And I believe this. I don't know why I believe it. I don't want to believe it. Can you help me not believe it? So I would have done those things had I known that was a belief of mine. But I trust Papa in his infinite wisdom and timing. And it was discovered when it was discovered. And when it was discovered, I was on this trajectory of life. I was in preparation for retirement, which, some of that in my mind, I was like, really, you can ready to do that? How you go retire? You got all this other stuff going on. But if I knew anything, I knew that God was calling me away from my job. I knew that with everything within me. Now, the ducks wasn't necessarily lined up. And so from some people's perspective, it wasn't wisdom. I know, but it's my life. And I was willing, right? I certainly had the conversation with the person who was going to impact the most, my husband. I certainly had the conversation with him. And as long as it was a go for him, it was 100%. It was already a go for me. So we would have just kept having the conversation because I was clear that it was time for me to shift so that I could be prepared for my next. Had no idea what my next was. I didn't know it was this. I just knew that it wasn't that. That might be the word of the hour right here. I didn't know that it was this that has manifested all of it. This 3-year journey. Y'all know it's February the 20th. We were 3 years live. We've been doing this for 3 years, y'all. 540 ever since February the 20th, 2020. So I didn't know it was this. I didn't know it was all of the services that I would develop. I did know that I was a mouthpiece for the beloved. Beloved meaning everyone created by Papa, right? I knew that I was a mouthpiece to serve. I knew that. And I didn't know how it would manifest. I just knew that people had a consistent experience of coming in, sitting, and we would engage, and they would leave feeling better than they when they came. They would leave feeling empowered. They would leave with new revelation and insight. They would leave with tools and strategies for bettering their situation. And that happened over and over and over and over and over and over again. And when I reviewed my life, it had been happening all of my life. And so Papa used the last few months of my job and he magnified this. I mean, he had everybody. It didn't matter if they were an administrator, if they were a student, a parent of a student, if they were of any other staff, if they were just a neighborhood liaison. It didn't matter who they were. When they sat in my seat, I had the exact same experience with them, and their report back to me was the exact same experience. And many who had discovered me for the first time, who had experienced me for the first time, like, oh my God, and you're leaving? Where have you been all this time? Like, what am I going to do now that you're gone? Those things had happened. And one day after it had happened, like maybe 8 people had been in my seat, and I'm just like, what in the world? Papa said, that's why you have to leave. That's why you have to leave. Because if you stay here, you will only do it from on the other side of this desk and the people you engage here in this community. But your community is so much larger than this. The people who I've called for you to speak to, you will never be available if you don't move from behind this desk. So as much as I was comfortable, beloved, being behind that desk because it was predictable, and a part of what scarcity had me to do is to stay comfortable. That was I'm just saying, and that's a part of the book. You got to read the book for the love of it. I mean, not for the love of it. I got so many titles, I just got to remember it. You got to read the book. It's not a free copy anymore. I've got to get another slide up here. Not free copy. Don't. But freedom is our birthright. So I'll get another slide up here with a picture. But freedom is our birthright. You got to read the book because it's the story of me and not knowing what to expect, but trusting. At that point, I had journeyed long enough with Papa to know his voice and to know that even though I didn't see what was coming, so it's almost like he did with Abraham. He's like, oh, you need to leave, the Chaldeans. You can't stay here. He didn't tell him where he was going. Oh, I'm just having this revelation. I never put the two together. He didn't tell him where he was going. He just told him he had to leave. And Abraham obeyed, and he was blessed beyond measure. And we were blessed beyond measure because of his obedience. And I obeyed, and I am blessed beyond measure. And Tanya, your posting here is so perfectly timed because I've enjoyed every second. Thank you for obeying God. My life has changed for the best. Oh my God, this is I'm having a moment. I am having a moment. Yeah. This was very aligned with what Papa God said to Abraham. And Abraham obeyed. Even though he didn't know where he was going, he didn't know what was going to happen, but he trusted and he obeyed. And this is akin and aligned to that. Thank you, Papa. I'm going to have to process that. I'm grateful. I am so grateful. Thank you, Tanya. That, man, when I say that posting right there is so timely. It's so timely. Papa cares about everything that matters to us, even these messages at 5:40 in the morning. Even these messages. Erica says, my new book came in yesterday. Thank you for continuing to follow your calling, powerful young lady. I have to say that because you get younger and younger each day, your beauty gets stronger every day. God continues to show he is amazing. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, honey bun. Yeah, for sure. Brian says, from the very first day I tuned in, I knew I tuned. Oh, thanks, Brian. The next day. Your 5 a.m. inspirations and lessons are needed constant in my life. You being my sister is a bonus. Thank you, sis. Yes, I need you every morning to start my day. Thank you for sharing of yourself and time. I love you, sis. I love you too, sis. And we get to spend some time together coming up soon. I'm excited about that. I'm so excited about the time we get to spend together. Thank you, sis. Morning to you. Much love, cuz. Much love, cousin. Much love. Morning to you too. Much morning to you too. So if it's, since it is happening, it has happened for me, the same for you, beloved, because Papa is not a respecter of persons. He is not. And since he has destiny and intent for my life, he has the same for yours. Since he has destiny and intention for my life, I promise you, he has the exact same for yours. So I encourage you strongly and powerfully to, if you've got the pulling of the Holy Spirit, if you got the pulling of the Most High, if you've got the direction of Papa saying, come on, consider this. I invite you to consider it, that he's not the kind of father that has us walk the plank to fall into a sea of sharks. Like, that's not him. But my life since leaving my job has taken on a trajectory that I could never have imagined and I could never have done on my own. He connected me to one community. And the weirdest thing, I mean, just God in his infinite wisdom, it's not weird, it's divine. He is our life is like a puzzle piece, and that was one of the pieces. And it came through a dear, dear, dear sweetheart named Courtney, who would come into my office every day. And she would say, not every day, but very often, she would come in. She was trying to get me to, she was exposing me to vegan for the first time. And y'all know I took that journey. And she was like, she was appalled when I went to the, I'll never forget, I went to the bookstore and I purchased a bag of skins. And she was like, Ma, you're not eating those, are you? And I'm like, no, I'm not buying them. I was like, I was getting ready to buy them, but her response, I was like, no, I'm not. But it was some years later before I actually, we have to get prepared. But some plants, some water, and Papa gets the increase. She was planting. One of the things she planted was, she kept saying, you remind me so much of Lisa Nichols. I had never met Elisa Nichols. I had never heard of Elisa Nichols. I wasn't into personal development, not like intentionally. It just wasn't my journey. Church was my journey. Or they say my junk. People say my junk. Church was my junk. Church was how I did personal development, right? And Papa needed me to do it in another way. Like, he needed me to add to that, right? Because church offers what it offers, but church doesn't offer everything, right? There are other things we need to be exposed to while we also do church. And so I needed additional exposure. And so I was introduced to this camp, and it's been a wild ride ever since. It's been a wild ride. So if you read the forward in the book, Susie Carter was Lisa Nichols' profit coach. She is the one that helped Lisa Nichols to become a millionaire, one of the first African-American millionaires whose company went public. And so she eventually became, so I joined her camp eventually, and she became my coach. And so it's a wild ride. Exposure. So connecting to this new community, Papa, Earl of Chaldeans, leave your known, go into the unknown. Connecting into this new community exposed me and grew me and catapulted me in ways that I couldn't had I just stayed with what I knew. So he was calling me to something that I didn't know exist. And now I really do believe Matthew 7:7, ask and it is given, seek and you shall find, knock and the door is opened unto you. I walk that. So the belief is not just a head belief. It is a heart belief. It's a knowing. It's beyond belief. It's a knowing. And knowing that all things work together. Sometimes I've heard that a lot. I'm not saying it's the way it was said. I'm saying it's the way it was heard for me. I heard a lot in the sense that when things go wrong, that they'll work for your good. That's the way I've heard it. That's the way I received it, right? I own my journey. But now what I really believe about that is things are always working out for me. That's what I believe about that scripture. Things are always working out for me. They always are. And I believe that about for you too. But look, when it comes to the wake, if you look back at the wake, if you look back at the trail you left behind and you focus on the negative, this didn't happen, this happened because, and my life is because, beloved, you're going to get more of that. But if you look at the wake, if you look at the trail that your life leaves behind and you say, things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for me. Or if you want to say it the way that we often hear it is, all things work together for the good, who love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. Whichever way, things are always working out for me. So even when I look at the trail of my life and I had all of those years of scarcity playing unchecked, checkmate, checkmate. Got it. I love you, beloved. I love you. I really do. I appreciate you. There are pivotal moments in this journey, in this 5 a.m. journey, and this has been one of those. This has been a pivotal moment. Thank you for each one of you who played a role in making this happen, this moment, this morning. I'm so grateful. Thank you for the confirmation. Thank you for the confirmation. Thank you, my sister, for the confirmation. I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate your diligence. I appreciate how you show up. I appreciate your determination to have all that Papa has of you. We all are iron sharpening iron. We are. And we're better together on this journey. And as we own our journey and as we show up fully in all of it, like not just when things are going well, but even when there is also a challenge and a struggle, as we continue to show up, right, we continue to have opportunities of manifestation of that which only we could manifest. All right. I'm so grateful for this morning's broadcast, for this morning's show, because it has given me some insight and an additional push, additional wind in myself, some clarity about the intention that Papa has for this here life over here. Woo-wee. On and popping, y'all. On and popping. Get ready for the Queen's Adventure, September 21st through the 24th. If you want to go, send an email. And the spots are limited. And let me tell y'all what I don't do. Let me tell you what I don't do. If I say the spots are limited, it is not a marketing tool. It's not a marketing tool. It is not a marketing ploy. It's not. Seriously, the spots are limited and I'm trying to figure out how to make more spots. So if you are interested, we're going to get that registration form up. Hopefully by next week, we'll get it up so that you can put your deposits down and start. But it's September the 21st through the 24th. And so we will get those up and make that happen. And but if you're interested, I need you to send an email to selflove@drcatherinejames.com. Let me know you're interested. And then I'm hoping next week to get the registration form up. And then you will be able to go on and get registered. And You'll be able to go on and get registered, and then we'll see what our numbers look like. But we don't have room for a lot of people. And I know most people who went last year want to go again this year. And I know there were some who didn't make it who want to come. So I've got to see what that looks like. But, I'm working it out. This is new for me. So we're journeying together and we're figuring it out together. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm just saying I know that I'm called to do this. And so it's not an option as to whether or not we do it. And this will be the last year that we only do it one time. This will be the last year. Part of doing it one time has been my absence of having things in place that need to be in place. And so as I am streamlining how I show up, what I show up to, I now make more space for the things that only I can do. Ladies, I'm ready to have some fun. Yes. All right. So send an email to selflove@drkatherinejames.com. In your comment, put Queen's Adventure, self-love, Queen's Adventure, so that I know that's what that email is about, so I can get a sense of who's interested, who's planning to come, and then we will keep it moving from there. I love you all. At the moment that Abba gave us his breath, me and you, we forfeited, we relinquished, we gave up the right to not be amazing. You and I just simply don't have the right to not be amazing, because that would be us being like counterfeit. Because you are amazing. You are the real deal. You are not a counterfeit. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.